What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It's time to bust that rhyme for that grit and that grime. We talking about that slime. Engine number 9 going down the East Coast line. One thing's for certain and three things are for sure. When you see me front your TV, number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. Want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. You may be asking yourself, how, Mr. P? Does one keep their Lions news pragmatic in these trying times? And I'll tell you, I'll let you know. You know I ain't going to hide nothing from you. You know I ain't going to hide it from you. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share with your peoples. And once you've done these three things, in any order you've done them in, you've indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And since sharing is caring, when you bring your peoples to the stream, you got to tell them to look out over yonder. You got to say, look at here. And you got to tell them what the stream has. The stream got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken. You know, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans. You name it. You name it. We got everything. We got all the news. We got all the sports. We got all the blues. We got all the crackers. We got all the chews. CHEWS. Don't try to put that on me. We got all the socks. We got all the shoes. What up, though, everybody in the chat? We are on one today. It is Friday. Party. Fun. What up, though, Irv Gotti? What up, though, Pierce Sargent? What up, though, to all the people who are lurking and working and smirking and twerking, even twerking. But if you're doing that other thing, it's a little bit freaky. I don't want to know. If you're doing that other thing, that's illegal. I don't want to know. I don't want to be a witness at your trial. I don't want to have to sit there and tell them anything. Keep it to yourself. Just like Karen and her bland ass potato salad. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into it today, man. We got two signings to talk about. We have signed Tyler Conklin. He's old. He's 31, but he's from Michigan, and he's been in the league for a while. We'll get into his signing. We've also signed Roger McCreary, who's not as old, who's not from Michigan, who's a bit young-ish. He's a veteran, but we'll get into his signing as well. We'll talk about what that means. Some other reports coming out, people wanting to stay, but Brad saying go away. Amik built different. Robertson was one of those people, you know, I'm just built different. I tried to tell Brad. I told Brad I want to stay. And what happened, I sat down with Brad. I said, come on, Brad, let me go ahead and sign the contract. You tell me what you want to pay me, and I'll go ahead and I'll discuss it with my agent. We'll take it from now. But, Brad, he told me, I'm going to tell you what he told me. He said, I'm over here, detective. So, when Brad told me that, I said, listen, man, you playing games with my livelihood. You playing games with my life right now. You know what I'm saying, Brad? I expected better of you, Brad. Maybe I should have tried to negotiate this deal with Coach Dan Campbell, but, I couldn't have done that. But Brad, he didn't appreciate the fact that I was built different. All he wanted to talk about was me playing with bad eyes. You know what I'm talking about? So, I told him, look, man, I'm out of here. I said, you can't bury what comes from the dirt. And I'm already in the dirt, so I'm gonna go ahead and stab out, So that's what happened with me, Amik Robinson. That's how I left the team. But shout out to the city of Detroit. Shout out to all of them boys over there, man. I love that city, man. And it's always gonna be a second home to me. But when I do go back to the city of Detroit, I'm definitely not gonna go see Brad Holmes, man, because I don't rock with that guy. So, Amik Robinson is out. All right. So let me go ahead and get to y'all's chats first and foremost before I get into the stories, the news, the articles, all that stuff. What up, though, bro? What up, though? Irv got it. Pierce Sargent says, Conklin tells me Brock Wright's injury is worse than we thought. Maybe. Might have been. McCreary, pure depth. I don't know. We thought that about Amik too. We know what happens. We know what happens in these cornerback streets in the Detroit Lions organization. We know these secondary streets, just like the secondary market. You go and you get your starting tickets on that secondary market. And you get your starting tickets on our bench, or you get your starting corners on our bench here. So it's a good signing. Can we truly get all the pieces we need via the draft? No, we cannot. No, we cannot. But we can get two pieces. We can get a tackle and an edge, and it seems as though that's what we're doing. So, yeah. What's speaking of which, what y'all think about a little bit of R. Mason today? She said she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, some R. Mason Thomas to top it all off. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. What up, though, Tactical Sport? So MLK off today? Yeah, he's off today. He's off today because I get rolling on MLK. I got to do MLK the whole show. So I'm gonna give that one off a little bit. All I can do. Okay. All right. Coming to you live from Tottenham Stadium. It's Motor City Don P. We're here to talk about the Detroit Lions of the National Football League. Listen, I don't know much about their football. I know about our football, the Premier League, things of this nature. But what really chaps my chappers, what really grinds my gears is this one guy here. His name is Brad Campbell. And not Brad Campbell, his name is Brad Holmes. Sorry. I'm new to this. And Brad Holmes, he doesn't seem to be doing a lot with his pocketbook. Yeah, he seems to be what's he doing? He's kind of not doing too much. Like, he's making these signings. I don't know. Maybe Roger McCreary. Maybe Tyler Conklin. Maybe those were good signings. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. That good? All right. Mr. Detroit City says, keep up the great work, Don. I don't care what Amara St. Clown says about you, man. I don't think he says anything about me specifically. Brad slaying the deep death signings. Killing them. Slay. Pause. Watch out. He might steal your third string tidy boy. Yeah, he might. I want him to make an appearance, huh? You can hate me now, McKinstry, but I won't stop now, McKinstry. What up, though? He says, sign Snead, Brad, and I'll feel better and move Arnold to safety. Well. So here's the thing about Arnold. Y'all keep saying move him to this and move him to that. I'm just hoping that he don't move into a jail cell. You know what I'm saying? I'm just hoping he don't move into a prison. That's all I'm hoping for Terrion Arnold right now. Terrion Arnold will be more of your nickel, and we just signed Roger McCreary, right? Terrion Arnold played the star position, which is that nickel at Alabama. So I don't know how good Terrion is at safety, right? And then that's just another experiment that we have to undertake. We'll take a cornerback who's been playing in the league for 2 years, and then we'll make him a safety. L'Jarius Sneed has been very unhealthy the last couple of seasons. Out of the possible 34 games, I think he played 13. So I don't know if I would want to see L'Jarius Sneed on this team, and especially with the track record that Brad Holmes has as the quote unquote DB snob, aka slob, who hasn't been able to get the secondary together at all. Now, it's unfortunate what happened to Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, but the secondary, as far as corners, it's been atrocious. Been really, really atrocious. Somebody tell me how DJ Reed got the deal that he got. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a cornerback. Tell me why DJ Reed got that contract. Tell me why. I never wanna hear you say DJ Reed is gonna play. Tell me why. I just did that off the top of the dome. I'm here all week. You know what I'm saying? Super chats, donations, cash at me, you know, all that. I'm here. I'm here for you. Deport Melvin, somebody call ICE. Leave him in Germany. Arnold could be moved to facilities. He could be. I shouldn't laugh. But that was A1. That was A1, Pierce. It said Arnold could be moved to facilities. Oh my God. Hey, we singing tonight? What y'all want to hear? Something's got a hold on me lately, but I don't know myself anymore. Pragmatic, stagmatic, tagmatic. All right, let's go ahead and get into what we got up in here. We'll talk about the Roger McCreary thing first. We got an article from Mike Payton. You know what it is. Can y'all see it? Y'all can see it. Y'all can see it? Yeah, you can see it in my glasses. You can see the article. All right. The Lions have signed a likely starting cornerback and gave us a possible answer about another recent signing. Now, this flies in the face of saying that Roger McCreary is pure depth. So it says, I know Detroit Lions fans have been wondering when their team would start making more defensive moves in free agency. That time is Friday, apparently. The Lions have signed cornerback Roger McCreary to a one-year deal. Obviously, Roger McCreary is not an edge rusher, and we have corners, right? I mean, they're not very good, but we have corners. We have safeties. They're not available, but we have safeties. We have one edge rusher on the roster. So when we're talking about defensive moves, one edge rusher on the active roster, not the practice squad, because when we talk about the practice squad, we have to let you know that they are professional practice squad players. And what do? They practice football professionally. And what are we talking about? We're talking about practice. Not the game. Well, we got 17 of them. You know, not the game where we try to go to the playoffs. Not the game. We're talking about practice. Y'all. We're talking about practice. I know I was supposed to be there. I know I'm a leader and everything, but we talking about practice. What we talking about? We talking about practice. We talking about practice, y'all. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. All right. Anyway, the Lions have signed cornerback Roger McCreary to a one-year deal in a world where a lot of attention is paid to the moves the Lions aren't making. They're making these cheap key moves that are really solid in a world, one man, one cup, pooping his pants. All right. The Lions needed quarterback help in the slot, and earlier in the week, they added Christian Izien, who can play both safety and slot corner, but McCreary is the guy who has specialized in playing the slot and has been a starter doing it. So that probably tells you that Izien will stick to the safety position more than anything. Okay, now one thing that I will say about this, the Roger McCreary signing, is this key point that's made here. But McCreary is the guy who has specialized in playing the slot and has been a starter doing it. Amik Robertson was drafted to play slot corner, but then he was not a slot corner because he was better on the outside. He wasn't great on the inside with the run fits and all these things. Remember, the Raiders moved him outside, and then he was a backup outside. So just because he is 5'8", 5'9", built different, you know what I'm talking about? I'm built different. Listen, Brad Holmes, you know, Mark Davis, everybody, they didn't know. You can't bury what comes from the dirt. I'm already in the dirt, so I'm already buried. That was a guy whose position was in flux. Everyone assumed that he was better in the slot because of his size. Where he was really actually better on the outside, but then, I mean, he wasn't great on the outside. You understand what I'm saying? Roger McCreary is a guy that is a slot corner. So you actually didn't have a starting slot corner. Now you have a starting slot corner. Now, however much nickel you want to play, that's a different story. However much this booty butt cheeks scheme is going to allow you to play nickel, that's a different story. And we need to see, you signed a nickel, you signed a slot corner. Let's see this guy play in the slot. Let's have some slot formations out there, please. Because otherwise, there's no use in signing him. But we always seem to be out there in the slot. Shout out my boy Mike, Lions Live 365, making the point that Derek Barnes was lined up in the slot a hell of a lot last season. For what? Why is Derek Barnes in the slot? Why is Aleem McNeil out on the edge? Why is Tyler Lacey out on the edge? Who are these people? Play people in the position that they're supposed to be playing in, or at least that they're good at, right? At least that they're good at. If you can be positionally versatile and flexible and all that, that's awesome. Are you good at it? Right? I can play kicker too. I'm not good at kicking. But just because I can play kicker, I can make attempts at field goals. I'm not going to hit none of them. I can make attempts to kick the ball off and have it go more than 20 yards down the field. It's not going to happen. You could put Aleem McNeil out on the edge. That doesn't mean he's an edge. It doesn't mean he's good at it. Just because Aleem McNeil can generate pressure from the interior of the defensive line doesn't mean he can do the same on the edge. It's a different skill set. And clearly Aleem McNeil doesn't have it. Oh, he was a baseball player in college. Awesome. He's not an edge in the NFL. He's a defensive tackle. Play him as such. So now we've got a corner who should be in the slot. Let's see if he stays in the slot. But you already know, this is a team where people are going to get injured, and then you're going to have Roger McCreary playing on the outside instead of in the slot. And same thing happened with Amik Robertson, right? Terrion Arnold went down. Amik Robertson, he's out. He's outside, which he was supposed to be outside anyway. So we'll see. The former second-round pick spent 3.5 years with the Tennessee Titans and started 38 games for them before the Rams traded for him last season. He played pretty well in both spots and got some strong coverage grades from Pro Football Focus, which we don't care about, but we'll read them. He finished last season with a 73 grade. He got beaten up in his rookie season and allowed 7 touchdowns. Since then, he's allowed 4 in the last 3 years, right? He's the anti-Jeffrey Namumbo Oh Hell No Kuda, right? He actually got better. You know, he actually got better, right? The only thing now, Jeffrey Namumbo Hell No Kuda will probably retire because he got his revenge on the Detroit Lions by simply being on the Minnesota Vikings when they beat us twice last season, right? That's it. He didn't actually do anything. Okay, all right. I just want to let y'all know he didn't do anything. Moving to the slot is what helped him improve so much. Moving to the slot, right? So he started as an outside corner. Aha. He said, taste the soup. Taste the soup. Okay, I'll taste the soup. 1 minute, taste the soup. Where's the spoon? Aha. Aha. He started outside. That's a problem. I'm now afraid. I'm officially afraid. He started outside where he gave up 7 touchdowns his rookie season. He moved in the slot, and he's given up 4 in the last 3 years. That's like 1.00001 a year touchdowns that he's given up. Watch Shep be like, "Oh, you played the slot before, didn't you?" I don't know. Can I do Shep today? You got to take away those 3 plays where we gave up 157 yards. If you take away those 3 plays, then we really only gave up about 15 yards rushing. So I don't want to hear about it. The players have been talked to. It's been addressed. It's going to change because this is unacceptable. Next question. Roger McCreary, he played before on the outside, so that's why I put him out there. And he's gonna do wonders for us on this team, man. He's going to do wonders for us. I don't know. I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling it. So moving to the slot is what helped him improve so much. The Titans invested a lot in their secondary in 2024, and that affected his playing time, but he looked good when he was on the field. We talked with our Titans beat writer, Easton Freeze. Oh, hey, bro. That shout out to Easton Freeze. Like, if your last name is Freeze, your first name just better be Mr. Like, excuse me, sir. What's your name? Freeze. Mr. Freeze. You know what I'm talking about McCreary. And here's what he had to say about his time in Tennessee. The Titans' decision to move McCreary at last year's deadline had more to do with front office regime change and pending contract status than it had to do with his ability. He was a steady contributor on an otherwise rough Titans defense for a while before he went to LA, where he struggled to get a foothold and dealt with an injury. Well, we now know why he got signed. Injury. I wouldn't get caught up in the short spell with the Rams because I saw him be a reliable slot corner in Nashville for a long time before that. His lack of length, if asked to work on the outside, will rear its ugly head at times, but he's a smart young player who a competitive team should want on their roster. Let me read that again. His lack of length, if asked to work on the outside, will rear its ugly head. Shep, please don't ask this man to work on the outside. They brought him in here as a slot corner now. Just respect the fact that he's a slot corner is nothing else. Okay? I just want you to do that. All right. We also talked with our Rams beat writer, AJ Schultz, and here's what he had to say about the short time McCreary was in Los Angeles. The Rams never got to find out just what Roger McCreary could do for their defense, as he missed most of this season with a hip injury and rarely saw the field, even when he was healthy. He is an intriguing option as a nickel/dime cornerback with terrific instincts in coverage and a knack for always being around the ball. Now, the one thing, Lord have mercy. The one thing that I have to ask about the headline was the Lions have signed a likely starting cornerback and gave us a possible answer about another recent signing. What was that other recent signing? Oh, the Christian Izien thing? Okay. I didn't think we needed an answer about Christian Izien. I think we all understood he was depth. I don't think anybody thought anything else. All right, let me get to y'all's comments before I comment. Do you think Dan Campbell is on board with what's going on and the recent signings? Yes, I do. I'm also here all week, Don. Still waiting for the update on Arnold's legal troubles. Yep. It's been very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits. All right. We better replace Kirby and TA because I don't think they are returning. I think Kirby is more likely to return. He's not dealing with legal issues. Melvin couldn't even manage a Planet Fitness. Oh, that's harsh. That's rough. TA's next number is going to be a few digits longer. Man, that's messed up. Well, he is in Florida with you, brother. So, go visit him. You know what I'm saying? Keep his head up. Put some money on his books. The commissary. Melvin and his band of wanksters, wahahaha, shot out 50 Cent. You said you were a gangster, but you never shot nothing. Hey, Don, I just got $100,000. What Airbnb should I stash it at? Whichever one you like, brother. Whichever one you like. Just because you wear a dress doesn't make you a girl, etc. This is true. We're doing death because 1/3 of the team hurt all the time. Well, yeah, but you got to get some starters in there. One Republic, what up, though? Said hit the like button, homies. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button. Smash it. If you are impersonating Shep, you just have to say Derek Barnes is the most valuable player in the league. Derek Barnes is the most valuable player in the league. He's like a little brother to me, so it was non-negotiable. Derek Barnes. Nah, see, I'm too Southern with it. I gotta listen to Shep because it's a fine line. Shep is a very fine line. between what is a deep South person and I don't know, a dude from Atlanta. So when we resign in Davenport, I don't stop. Stop with that. I'm telling you, I need to find some pencils. I'm gonna go. So here we have this store called Office Works, which basically is exactly what Office Max is. And there's not one not far from my house. I'm gonna need to go down there and just get a pack of pencils and come and just break all of them if we resign Davenport. Tennessee is Shaduki. I heard that. Shep, if you're hurt, then get out the game. Stares intently at the media. If you hurt, then get out the game. Next question. Export still a topic around here? Well, until he signs with someone else or retires, I think he will be. I'm at the point now where Dan is just a cuck for Brad. Whatever Melvin wants, he just sits in the corner and enjoys. Pause. Oh, big pause. Lion pause. TA about to get a nah, I'm not doing that one. Nope. Nope. No, sir. We're not doing that one. Magic City. Davenport isn't going to be off the table until he signs somewhere else or retires. Yep, there we go. You beat me to it, but you know, I'm breaking more than that if Davenport returns. Oh, I hope Davenport goes back to wherever he's from and retires. Sail off into the sunset. So the Roger McCreary signing to me, as I said, is if he can be your slot corner, then let him be your slot corner. And then that's off the table and we don't have to worry about it. Hopefully, hopefully he's better than he was with the Rams. Hopefully he's healthy. But this is where the injuries come to increase and multiply. Oh my goodness. This dude. I ain't doing none of that prison material. No, sir. But I will say, I came looking for booty. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. All right. Let's talk about Tyler Conklin. The crazy thing is, yesterday I got flagged for doing the Danny Dennis Sutton video. I got flagged for the highlights, but the first two that I did, there was no flag for the highlights. So it's crazy. I don't know. All right, let's see. Tyler Conklin. Oh, okay. All right, we're going Detroit Lions on SI for this one. Y'all know who that is, the Doc, John Macaron, friend of the show. He says Detroit Lions signed tight end Tyler Conklin. The Detroit Lions have added depth to their tight end room by signing veteran Tyler Conklin. Conklin, 30, is a Michigan native who played collegiately at Northwood and Central Michigan University. After a solid collegiate career, he was selected by the Minnesota Vikings in the 5th round, 157 overall of the 2018 NFL Draft. His tenure with the New York Jets 2022 to 2024 was successful. He secured 170 receptions for 1,622 yards and 7 touchdowns while playing for the AFC East squad. He was on the receiving end of future Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers' 500th career touchdown pass in the last game of the season. The top 2 tight ends on the Lions roster, Sam Laporta and Brock Wright, are also expected to benefit from the addition of Drew Petzing to the coaching staff. Detroit's new offensive coordinator appeared on an SB Nation podcast and discussed what separated him from other candidates. It's the confidence I go about the job with. It's my background in a lot of different rooms. I was a receivers coach. I was a tight ends coach. I was a quarterbacks coach, said Petzing. One of the key points about being an offensive coordinator is you've got to be in charge of everything and you have to hold people accountable. I think it helps having a diverse background on the offensive side of the ball to do that. I've had to coach the details of how to block wide zone on the front side with the tight end, or how to release versus press as a receiver, or where a quarterback's eyes and where his feet should be when I was in the quarterback room. I think that was probably one of those things that I like to think shone throughout the interview. So most of that most of that was about Drew Pretzing. Oh, yeah, shout out. If y'all didn't know, I didn't touch on this. Jedrick Wills went to the Bears. So, you know, it is what it is. I wasn't high on Jedrick Wills or anything of that nature. I don't really care that he went to the Bears. You know, it's not one of those types of signings for me. All right. Davenport is kryptonite. Bro, sidebar. Did any of you ever watch, what was that, the Superman show on WB? Smallville. Did any of you ever watch Smallville? Because we need to talk about that show. I hate Superman. Superman is the dumbest hero ever. And I get why they had to make him so dumb, because they had to counter his powers some kind of a way. But Smallville, did anybody ever watch Smallville? All right. Okay. So we got WB, LOL, Mr. Detroit City. He watched it. Tactical Sport never watched it. Okay. My problem with the show, okay? My problem with the show, number one, I couldn't stand Lana. I know she's like, I forget what her name is in actual reality. I know people like fawn over her and everything. I couldn't stand her. I watched every show hoping she would die. on the show. Okay? This show was so crazy because it had all these different villains, and in order, because, you know, it's Clark Kent. He's not, you know, I don't think he put on the suit until like the last episode, and it was like they called him the red blue blur or some craziness like that. You never really got a good picture of him in the suit, right? So because he's Clark Kent, and because he's in Smallville, this little podunk hick town where he grew up with the Kents, in the show, apparently, when his ship crashed as a baby, there was somehow kryptonite everywhere around this ship. I don't know if he came in and it was like a meteor, and behind him was this big deposit of kryptonite. Every villain, there was this one episode where there was this nerd with a pocket protector and everything. My man had kryptonite. Every villain, every school bully, every whatever the case may be, had kryptonite in their pocket, somewhere on their person, in their backpack, whatever it be, when they face Clark Kent. And they would be whooping his ass until he figured out where the kryptonite was and how to get it away from him. Why is everyone in the town walking around with this kryptonite that came when this man was a baby? High school is when Smallville took place. He was here got here 18 years ago. 18 years ago. And people are walking around with kryptonite, and they are also 18. How? Like, what? Whose idea was that? What writers did they have working on that show that said, you know what, guys? You know what would be great? And this is going to make the show really believable, okay? We're gonna have kryptonite everywhere. Okay? Now hear me out, fellas. We're gonna have kryptonite everywhere. And the reason being is because this is Superman. He's the most powerful superhero ever. How is an 18-year-old kid gonna stand a chance against Superman? Literally Superman. Like, this guy's a jock and everything, and he's cool, and you know what I mean? He's a bully and he's angry and everything, but I mean, he's got no chance against Superman, right? So if he's somehow got kryptonite, okay, if he somehow was just walking around with kryptonite in his pocket somewhere on his person, right? Like he's got like an earring, right? He's just got his ear pierced, right? It's like, it's not a diamond. It's just this glowing green stone that he found, right? And he got it put in his earring, and he's going around and showing everybody. He's like, hey, man. And then Superman comes by and steps on his foot accidentally, right? And he pushes Superman, and he punches him in the face, right? And he's just going in on Superman because he's got these kryptonite earrings in, you know? And everyone's like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. We should give kryptonite to everybody in the town. Dumbest show ever. The show was stupid. Okay. And that was the bone that I had to pick. Okay. All right. WB budget. Exactly. Why would Davenport retire, play what's equivalent to one game a year, $8 million, get MLS? Sign me up, coach. That's true. That is true. Clark Kent, 2 first names, can't trust him. I remember hearing that. He said this got deep. Pot smoking writers, for sure. Kids these days don't even know Superman is the bad part. They know Taylor Swift and Supergirl or whatever it is. It wasn't that a movie that was supposed to come out. Did it ever come out? I'm not sure. We crip out tonight. His Prince Albert was made. It's terrible. All right. So let me get back to what we were talking about before that. Mr. Detroit City was going in on TA at his prison sentence. I wonder if Melvin and Dan are surprised after half the team is on the injured reserve. I mean, Dan can't be surprised for sure because he's the one that puts them on there. Some fact checkers with extra thumbs. Oh my goodness. Davenport is COVID happy anniversary. I feel you. All right. Should we do R. Mason? Should we do R. Mason Thomas? I think R. Mason Thomas is interesting, especially his name being R. Mason. Did y'all look into why his name is R. Mason? What was the dude's name that was the president of the NFLPA? D something. I can't remember his name. Do y'all remember his name? D something. I guess I could Google it. DeMaurice Smith. Okay. It's crazy. They would call him D Smith. And I thought his name was actually D Maurice. Like D was the first, like his name was Donald, but he didn't want to be called Donald. So it would just be D, and then he would go with Maurice. I know his name was actually D Maurice. That's crazy. So R Mason is something very similar to that. Um, what was that dude's name? I thought it was more like D'Angelo Ledbetter. What was that dude's name? Google will correct me. D Orlando, right? D Orlando Ledbetter. Okay. He's a sports writer. His name is Daryl Orlando Ledbetter, right? But he's using the D because he didn't want the Daryl part. He just wanted to go by Orlando. Okay. So the D is an initial. The D is silent. Hashtag if you know, use the hashtag. So that's what I thought with R Mason. However, I thought it was R Mason Thomas. But what happened with the R, his first name is actually R Mason. R, capital R space, capital Mason. The reason why is he said basically it's a tradition on his mother's side to name children with a bunch of R names. So Ronald, Reginald, so on and so forth. He says she didn't want to do that. She didn't want him to have an R name. So basically she gave him like the wayward initial. It doesn't actually stand for anything. It's just an R so we can start, so I can honor the tradition that my family has, and then I'll deal. So Mason, basically, she wanted to name him Mason. So R Mason Thomas. R Mason Thomas. So that's how the name shakes out. Cool. All right. He said Reeves Maben is the president. Yeah, he's the president now. Woo, that's crazy. It's not that if Sports Center is on. Wow. Y'all are going in on Terrion and the prison sentence. And I'm not, there's a lot of stuff I can't read. There's a lot of stuff I can't read. I'm definitely not gonna read that, dude. Mr. Detroit City. I'm definitely not gonna read that one. That's crazy. All right. While I'm doing this segment, okay, we're gonna do this. Mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right. So get your mailbag questions in, and then I will get to them after I do the R Mason Thomas video. Google is on some other stuff, talking about upgrade to Google AI Ultra for $200 a month. Yeah, no. All right, that's my alarm. I'm glad I wasn't doing the video before that. Let me make sure all the comments are off the screen because y'all didn't tell me nothing about that yesterday. All right, let's get this set up. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. All righty. Mute that. All right. You know what would be crazy? Because they told me that the video couldn't be monetized because of what was on the screen visually, the highlights. You know, it'd be crazy if the actual video that I did with Danny Dennis Sutton, I just cut it from this, doesn't have the same problem, and they let it go to be monetized, which is actually not monetized yet. I'm not fully monetized. I can only be monetized by like super chats and super thanks and all that other stuff. So not yet full monetization. Not yet. All right, let me see here. Grab that. Grab that. Okay, we are good to go. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is time to bust that rhyme about the prospects on that East Coast line, engine number 9, going down the East Coast lines. Now, you know we've done Danny Dennis Sutton. You know we've done Akeem Messidor. You know we've done TJ Parker. If you guys want to check those out, make sure after this video you go ahead and check those other 3 out, and we're going to continue expanding the series and doing more and more and more. Eventually, we might get into some tackles and maybe some corners and some safeties, whatever the case may be. Maybe we'll just do all the top 30 visits from the combine. Maybe we'll do more than that. Who knows? Stay tuned, because I think we've already exited that laneway. But anyway, we've got a breakdown for you. This guy is a little bit different than the previous ones that we've done. And today we've got our Mason Thomas. He's a completely different flavor of edge rusher than the last 2, right? So this is a different evaluation. Remember, size, weight, all that stuff. There's a certain type of guy that the Detroit Lions like. What's the archetype? Who is the archetype? That would be none other than one Marcus Davenport. So every edge rusher that we're going to do, we're going to compare him to Marcus Davenport, because Marcus Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson are similar. Marcus Davenport 6'6", Aiden Hutchinson 6'7". Marcus Davenport is what? 285, I think. Aiden Hutchinson is 270 or something like that. I have to get the actual measurements for Aiden Hutchinson, but you know where I'm going with this. The big edge, the big end. That's what they like in Detroit. Does it work? It works for Hutch. Has it worked for anyone else there? No. But if you're going to do the same thing over and over and expect different results, well, that's called the definition of insanity. So we're going to give you a wide range of prospects. Whether the Detroit Lions are going to use any picks on any prospects that are not big ends, we'll see. I mean, hell, will they even use a pick to get a big end? That is yet to be discovered. We do not know. Or a big edge, or whatever they want to call it. Big guy on the end. Think of Lee McNeil and Tyler Lacey rushing the passer. It's not great, Bob. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the measurables. All right, Mason Thomas, edge, Oklahoma Sooners. Height, 6'2". He's a little short. He's a little short for their liking. They like him 6'4", 6'5", and up. Weight, 249. Ooh, that's a no-go right there. He's hovering around 250. They don't even get out of bed unless you're 259. You know, they don't even get out of bed unless you're 259. So what do you think they're going to do for 249? They're going to roll over and hit the alarm. Snooze button. But, you know, we're going to keep through it. He's a senior. All right, let's go to this background and production. You already know what we do at this point in time. We do their height, weight, the measurables. Then we do their background production. Then we do their strengths and their concerns. We don't call them weaknesses. And then we talk about their draft projection and their fit with the Detroit Lions. And then we go over the highlights. All right. So background and production. A former 4-star recruit out of Fort Lauderdale, Thomas steadily developed into a premier SEC pass rusher for the Sooners. He had a massive breakout campaign in 2024, racking up 9 sacks and 12 and a half tackles for loss. He followed that up with a stellar 2025 season, securing 6.5 sacks, 9.5 TFLs, and first-team All-SEC honors. He finished his 42-game collegiate career with 17 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. To cap it all off, he went to the 2026 NFL Combine and ran a blazing 4.67-second 40-yard dash, solidifying his status as a premier athlete in this class. Now, 4.67 is not a blazing 40-yard dash time for a running back or a wide receiver or a safety or corner, but for a man who is 6'2", 249 pounds, coming at you at 4.67 seconds, that's a lot to handle. So, yeah, it's fast for his height and weight. All right, now let's go to his strengths from his scouting report. Lightning, fast, get off. And if you're going to be 6'2", only 249, a little light in the pants, don't have enough bricks in your pocket, apparently, according to Dan Campbell, right? You don't have enough bricks in your back pocket. 249. What you going to do at 249? This is the NFL, player. You got to be 376 off the edge. Anyway, I digress. Thomas is explosive off the line of scrimmage. He covers an immense amount of ground in his first 3 steps, immediately putting offensive tackles on their heels. Elite bend and flexibility. He is arguably one of the most fluid edge rushers in the draft. He possesses incredible ankle flexion, allowing him to dip under taller tackles, flatten his arc, and corner tightly into the pocket. High motor and pursuit. He plays with a relentless, aggressive attitude. Thomas is a phenomenal backside pursuit defender who routinely chases down running backs from behind with his rare closing speed. Now, who else has a relentless motor? I should put a quiz in this video just to see if y'all go back. I just might put a quiz in this video just to see if y'all have been watching the other videos. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a quiz in this video. So here at this point, when I ask you who else from the prospects that we've covered has a really high motor, you guys are going to get an answer. Multiple choice. Hopefully you pick the right one. So I'm not going to tell you. So you got to pause the video. You got to think about it. Have a think. Get back to me. We'll be here. Anyway, speed to power. Despite being undersized, he surprises blockers with his ability to convert his pure speed into a powerful strike, frequently knocking off balance tackles backwards. Right? If you're off balance already and he hits you with that, if he hits you with that, you're going backwards into the quarterback. And that's not a place you want to be. All right. So those are the strengths. Okay. Again, he's got 4 strengths. 4 of them. That's among the highest that we've seen in these prospects so far. Lightning fast get off, elite bend and flexibility, high motor and pursuit, speed to power. Right? The more that you have at the edge rusher position, the more complete you are. There's a lot of big guys that they're looking at that only have 1 strength or maybe 2. So the complete edge rusher thing, you have to see who they pick. Do they pass on certain people? And you'll get your answer at that point. All right. Concerns. Okay. Now, he has almost as many concerns as he does strengths. I don't think that 2 of these things, actually, look, I think every one of his concerns is stemmed from one actual concern. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we go through them. Every one of his concerns is stemmed off of one concern. It has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with ability. Here we go. All right. Undersized frame. At 6'2" and roughly 249 pounds, he falls below the traditional NFL size threshold for a base defensive end. His shorter arms can allow larger, longer tackles to lock onto his chest and control his rush. Run defense anchor. Because he lacks elite mass and length, he can get washed out by heavy down blocks and double teams. He sometimes struggles to maintain his gap integrity when teams run directly at him. Durability. He dealt with some high ankle sprains and soft tissue issues earlier in his collegiate career, so medical evaluations will be an important factor for front offices, not for Brad Holmes. That actually might have put him on his radar. Soft tissue in his rake straw, high ankle sprains, right? The first two things had to do, number one, he's undersized. Number two, because he's undersized, run defense and anchor. Guess what you can do with that? Paging Coach Shep, get rid of this old antiquated scheme that won't allow this guy to be on the field. How about that? How about you scheme him off of blocks? How about you run some stunts? How about you run some twists? How about you run some games? How about that? You do that, you can get this man one-on-one. You can get him paired up against. You can move him around. What happened to Hutch being moved around? Everybody wants to, in Lions land, the fandom, they want to compare Hutch to Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons doesn't just line up on the same side all the time with his hand in the dirt and just bull rush. It's not what Micah Parsons does. Micah Parsons is all over the defense. He's standing up. He's got his hand in the dirt. He's coming off the edge. He's coming through the middle on blitzes. They use him in a variety of different ways. We're too vanilla to get this guy. I'm sorry. We just don't have the creativity that would allow us to take a guy who was looked at as undersized, but pretty complete. A guy that's not a world beater and elite against the run, but will really, really help your pass rush. We don't know how to get him on the field. We don't know how to use him properly. He's not big enough. He's not 6'5", 260. He's 6'2", 249. And that's a damn shame. But, draft projection and fit. If you run his profile through the Mock Machine, shout out to the Mock Machine, unofficial sponsor of this video. If you guys like mock drafts, if you guys like to be the GM, go over to www.themockmachine.com and you can do all that. You can play with your friends. You got a lightning round. If you guys decide that you want to sign the same free agent and give them the same amount of money, well, there's a lightning round that triggers. There's a bidding war. You got 2 minutes to offer him the best contract. Whoever offers him the most money and he accepts it wins. If you guys just want to do a mock draft where you can trade everything, you can trade your entire draft if you want. You can trade picks from the next year. You can trade players. You can do all these things. Actually, yeah, you can. Now, go over to themockmachine.com, sign up. It's free. Make sure you tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues, tell your bosses, you name it. Tell them all. Share with them because sharing is indeed caring. Themockmachine.com. Go on over there now and have a look. All right. So if you run his profile through the Mock Machine, Thomas usually grades out as a solid day 2 pick. While his size might prevent him from being an every down base end right away, his floor is incredibly high as a designated pass rush specialist. He would be an incredible sub-package speed rusher for the Detroit Lions, offering a twitched-up, bendy complement to the heavy-handed power rushers already on the defensive front, which is none other than Aiden Hutchinson because there's no other rushers there. None. Hello? Is this thing on? Aiden Hutchinson is the only pass rusher, edge defender, whatever you want to call him, on the active roster. Then there's Ahmed Hassanin on the practice squad. When, Brad, will you get some help for Hutch? When? We don't have any. Who are you signing? You're going to draft 3 edges? Come on, man. Watch we get some people in training camp from cuts. Watch. It's going to happen. All right. So if y'all are ready for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to the highlights because that's the next part of this video. And that's probably the part that you guys are, enthused about the most. Okay. You're probably the most enthused about the highlights. So let's go ahead and get to those without further ado. All righty. Turn my highlights on. All right. Let's get to it. All right. So here we got our Mason Thomas 2025 highlights. Let's go. All right. You see him out there on the edge standing up. As I said, first thing you notice, he was standing up, gets around the tackle. The tackle does have long arms, but he still uses that speed to power, gets him off of balance, and gets to the quarterback. Here he comes. He's got his hand in the dirt. First 2 highlights. One standing up, hands in the dirt. You see the chop. You see the chop. Gets to him. I know that's Kent State, and I know they're rolling, but you see it. All right, here he comes. Move a little bit inside. Boom, relentless motor. Gets around the guy who's clearly bigger than him. Gets the sack. All right, here we go again. Boom. A little bit of a long arm right there. Stabs. Creates a little bit of distance. Gets to safety. All right, here he is again. What's he doing? Oh, he's going into coverage. What? What? Why is he in coverage? Is he versatile like that? Well, he is 249. Oh, playing against my Wolverines. No. I don't like that highlight. All right. Here he is out here again on the edge. Boom, boom. Wash it down. In the run. Does not get washed out. I know this is Kent State. All right. Here we go. Another run set. Gets on the inside with the stunt. Nice move. Gets in there, disrupts that play, tackle for loss. TFL. Screaming off the edge. Where's that running back? No chance. No chance, player. All right. Standing up again. Here he comes. Beating him off the edge. Here he comes. Motor. Arch Manning. Sit down. Motor. Never giving up on the play. He said, get out of here. You're too little. You're too slow. That's that 4.67. There he goes. That's speed. Here's that motor. He's not giving up. Is this a guy that you guys would like to see on the Detroit Lions? You let me know. Comment in the comment section below. Right? Now, obviously, these are highlights. So everything that you see in a highlight package is going to be, probably better than what you would see, overall. All right, let's get me back on the screen. So that is our Mason Thomas. Guys, let me know what you think about him in the comment section below. Tell me, do you think the Lions will get him? Do you want him first and foremost? Do you think there's a chance? Are you telling me there's a chance that we could get our Mason Thomas on day 2? Could he be our 2nd round pick? You guys let me know. Would you like to see him over Akeem Messidor? Would you like to see him over TJ Parker? Would you like to see him over Danny Dennis Sutton? Guys that we have done profiles on before, or maybe you'd like to see him with a combination of both. I did a mock draft yesterday on the mock machine where we were able to get Akeem Messidor and our Mason Thomas because we made a trade. Pittsburgh Steelers offered us a trade, and we got pick number 53. I picked them both in the 2nd round. It is what it is. All right, y'all. Once again, appreciate you coming through and watching the video. Make sure you come and watch all of them as we roll them out. The Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic, and we are out. Peace. Wow. Wow, at my phone ringing right at the end of that one. Right at the end of that one. Wowzers. Wowzers. All right, let me go ahead and get these in. Let me send a text message to this person. All right. Let me go up to see what you guys got going on. See if we got any mailbag questions here. How does Australia have better internet than Philly here, Mike? In the US? I don't know. But I don't think so. Mike's not wired. So that's the thing. Once he gets wired in, then it'll be a lot better. Is Bosa cheap? I do believe he is cheap. Look, everybody signing these deals pretty much cheap, right? Rasheed Walker signed a deal with the Panthers today for like 1 year, $10 million. It's a lot of cheap deals being handed out. There are a lot of big deals being handed out, but the veteran players, the depth guys, whatever the case may be, maybe you're at the end of your career, maybe you've got 2 or 3 more years left. Those guys are getting reasonable deals. I mean, El Qadim Muhammad got up to $6 million. Jaquan Brisker, I think, got up to $6 million. Like, we're getting people with sensible deals. Everybody's not breaking the bank. The breaking the bank deals were made in the first day of free agency. Now you're getting the reasonable deals. And I mean, we're getting some of them, but not a lot of them are moving the needle. Appreciate you. That's why he's going to re-sign Davenport. He's Branch's size. Branch is not no damn 250. It might be and Branch is shorter. I think Branch is like 5'11". Maybe he's 6 feet. OU, yes. He looks small out there. So did James Houston, but James Houston had 8 sacks in 7 games, or 7 sacks in 8 games, which one it was. But again, the Detroit Lions, especially with Shep at the helm, don't know how to. So we can put Aleem McNeil and Tyler Lacey out on the edge, but we can't figure out how to get a guy who's a bit undersized to be out on the edge. Make that make sense. So a guy that's going to bring you 0 production at all. Aleem McNeil, Tyler Lacey. Talking about, he looked at Tyler Lacey and it was like, have you ever played edge? And Tyler Lacey looked at him like he was crazy. Because you are crazy. This scheme is terrible, bro. I don't know. It's old, it's antiquated. It doesn't work, but we just keep doing it. And we're missing out on a whole bevy of good players, too. He does seem to be a baller out there. Second round, for sure. Appreciate you. You guys doing the Syndicate 365 on Sunday. It should be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If we have something to talk about Sunday, I guess we'll go on. He gonna move Aleem back inside. Yeah, he's gonna be back inside, but it's like little sub packages that he had with the dude outside. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and skedaddle. Branch is 6 foot even. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I said 5'11", 6 foot. All right, y'all. This has been the Friday show. If you are not a subscriber, if you are on LNU, go on over there to Motor City Cats and hit that subscribe button. Also, smash that like button. We got 220 people in here right now. I don't know how many of them are from YouTube. I don't know how many of them are from LNU. So it's just a combined 220 people. So make sure you are subscribing. If you are part of this 220 and you are not subscribed to Motor City Cats, I am the Motor City Cat. Go over, support your boy, sign up for my channel, man. Subscribe. It is what it is. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Again, keep checking for Syndicats 365 on Lion Syndicate. And we will be live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Any impromptu streams, anything newsworthy happens, we will let you know, and we will go live then. All right. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. And we're out. Peace. Appreciate y'all.